What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Joe, and here we talk and review movies. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining. And everyone, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button down below. Very much appreciated. And with that all being said, let's talk about film. So the film that I want to review with you guys today is Captain Marvel. This is a movie that I saw in theaters when it came out, and I gotta be honest, I was not the biggest fan of it. However, rewatching it, and I've also been rewatching these movies in an order that I found online, where you start with Captain America, and then the next movie is Captain Marvel because it takes place in '95, whereas the first Iron Man movie takes place in 1998. Seeing it in that order and just rewatching the movie again, I gotta say I enjoyed this a lot more the second time. I want to just talk to you about what I enjoyed about this movie, what I didn't enjoy about this movie, and just give you my overall thoughts in the end. So let's get into it. So just before we go ahead, I just want to say I will spoil maybe some things in here, but I'm going to try my best not to spoil the entire movie, because if you haven't seen it, please go and watch it. It is a lot of fun. So let's continue with the review. So first off, what do I like about this movie? I love the 90s nostalgia. As someone who grew up in the 90s, born in '89, I have seen the 90s, come and go. And it was fun to see a lot of these cool establishments that we don't have anymore in this movie. For instance, Blockbuster, seeing on the big screen, it was pretty cool. I also love the fact that they bring in things like Radio Shack. I don't think Radio Shack is around anymore. If it is, there's probably very little establishments left. The people with the clothing and the hairstyles and everything. It was just a lot of fun. Brought back a lot of memories. I also love the acting in this movie, especially from the supporting cast. Samuel Jackson, we all know him as the Nick Fury, but this is a younger Nick Fury. I think he's just been promoted to director of S.H.I.E.L.D. I can't remember exactly. But he's clearly new in this role, doesn't really know yet what his purpose is. But, as the movie goes on, we come to understand how he figured out how to start the Avengers, how he came up with these ideas, and what kind of set it off, which is Captain Marvel. She is the one who comes to Earth, and she makes him understand that there are powers out there beyond our reach. And it was cool to see, his understanding of that really come to fruition in this movie. And Nick Fury also has two eyes in this movie. And we'll get into what happens with that later. Oh God. And then we have Ben Mendelsohn, who plays Talos. He, I think, is my favorite character of this entire movie. Ben Mendelsohn is an actor who I love when he plays villains. I don't care if people don't like Rogue One. I love Rogue One. I think he was fantastic in that.
We stand here amidst my achievement, not yours!
He has moments where he's menacing, he's threatening, and then he has moments where there's just great comedic relief. But then there are tender moments with Mendelsohn, because when you find out more about what his character is all about, the whole meaning and purpose of the character just changes right away. Again, I'm trying not to spoil as much, so forgive me if I sound like I'm trying to hold back, because I am. I really like Lashana Lynch. She's not in much of the movie. She plays Monica Rambeau. And for a character that doesn't have much going on in the movie, I was amazed with the impact that was left whenever she was on screen. There's a great scene in the movie where she and Carol get together for the first time in 6 years. It's where Monica tries to get answers from Carol, which she doesn't really have much of the answers for yet, because she's still trying to figure that out on her own. But just the conversations that Monica and Carol have with each other, Lashana Lynch really shines. And I can't wait to see her in other stuff. I know there have been talks about her possibly taking over the role of 007. And you know what? If they pull it off and they make it right in the next James Bond movie, I'm all for it. Knowing it's Lashana Lynch playing that character, I have a feeling we're in good hands. The action sequences are a lot of fun. What I love so much about Marvel action sequences, they give the shots time to breathe. You're never confused about what's going on, and there's always great style with their action. It's clearly a lot of fun, great camera work, well choreographed, and it just keeps you on the edge of your seat, which is what I think any Marvel action movie should do. Another thing that I like about this movie, and it happens right at the beginning, It's the homage to Stan Lee in the Marvel logo. I thought that was a nice touch. It was a nice send-off to him. And then, you have Stan Lee's cameo on the train. She, pulls down the script and looks at Stan Lee and just smiles. Just really, really nice and just handled perfectly. So those are my positives for the movie. Now I think I need to get into the negatives, and I'm just going to get this one out of the way. I don't like Brie Larson in this movie. I don't think she's bad, but I don't think she's great either. The whole movie, she's just a blank face. Like, she's so flat. There's no charm. There are no qualities to this character that I can latch onto and go, oh yeah, I this is why I like this character. They do the whole heroic moment, especially towards the end where she kind of understands more of her power now and she's going to use it for good to vanquish evil and everything. And when that moment comes, I don't care. And that's bad. That's really bad. I know Brie Larson is a good actress, so I have to say it's probably the directing and the writing. But I understand this movie is sort of a mystery because you are trying to figure out, and she's trying to figure out, who she is. But that is not an excuse to have this character be such a blank slate. I also think she's a bit too powerful. What is her weakness? What can stop her? They talk about things that can stop her in the movie. For example, they talk about how she needs to control her emotions. But the whole time I'm thinking, where are these emotions that you are talking about coming from? Is it anger? I can maybe see a little bit of anger in there. But other than that, there's really nothing else. In future installments, I hope they work on that because there is a character in here that I really want to shine. But this first installment, I don't think really did her any favors. It's the writing and the directing. And the part of why I don't love the writing and the directing is more about consistency. A good example that really bugs me to no end is when S.H.I.E.L.D. keeps referring to themselves as S.H.I.E.L.D. We know that in the first Iron Man movie, they were not calling themselves S.H.I.E.L.D. yet. They were calling themselves
Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division.
That's quite a mouthful.
I know. We're working on it.
But by the end of Iron Man 1, Phil Coulson, is going,
From the Strategic Homeland and
Just call us S.H.I.E.L.D.
and I know it's such a small, nitpicky thing. It just kind of takes me out of the movie. Just go by the full name. They could have made it funny. They really could have made it funny. A lot of the special effects in this movie are great. There are moments, though, where the effects are not that great. One example that comes to mind, it's towards the end. Captain Marvel has figured out her full potential in terms of her powers, and she is battling, in space and destroying ships and everything. Cool visual effects. But then I think she's flung back to Earth, and there's a moment where it just cuts to her falling. It's like a close-up medium shot, tracking her as she's falling back, and clearly it's a green screen. Oh my God, it looks terrible. Nick Fury loses his eye. I will not say how, but it is very disappointing. So guys, overall, what are my thoughts on Captain Marvel? I think Captain Marvel is a lot of fun. It's better a second time for sure. It's got great supporting characters. It's got great effects, great action. The set design, the nostalgic feeling for the 90s is there. It's wonderful. But I do think that the main character needs a lot of work. The writing and directing isn't terrible, but it's not the greatest. Obviously, little inconsistencies here or there that sort of take me out of the movie, with a few minor effects also taking me out. But you know what? In the end, I did enjoy this movie a second time. If you didn't like it the first time, I highly recommend you give it another shot. Watch it in the order that I found this list on, and I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and look forward to the next video. Thanks very much.